Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'd like to let you know about a brand new season of the award-winning podcast, The Missing, which has come to North America for the first time. Every Monday, we tell the story of a long-term missing person in the US and Canada. We hear from their loved ones, and we explore the potential leads, clues, and last sightings. And we invite you, the listener, to get in touch. Can you help piece these clues together or provide the information which might lead to these cases being solved? Come and join our community of listeners on The Missing and become part of the search. The Missing is out now, wherever you get your podcasts.
As such, you're not suspected of committing any offence at this time, and you're not under arrest, and this interview is not being conducted under police caution. Does that all make sense?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, great. For the recording, the time is 21:55 on the 25th of June 2023. This is DCI McAllister talking on the phone with
Matteo Niccolò Lombardi. I am the deputy commander on base.
and can I... Is it okay to call you Matteo?
Sure. People call me Matty sometimes.
Okay, look, first things first. I have to mention that we're asking everyone for their phones. It's just to download the data.
I don't know how to do that.
No, don't worry. Luca Quetzi's handling it. So if you just give your phone to him, if that's okay.
Of course, if that's what... why do you want everyone's phone data?
It's just standard practice. It's in case there's anything on the phones which might help with the case.
My phone?
Oh, no, not just yours. It's just really a case of getting everybody's and being sure, yeah?
Okay. Happy to help.
Good. Okay, Matteo, what I'd like to do now is take you back to the night of the event, if I may.
Okay.
So, can you tell me where you were that evening? Maybe start with the party.
Of course. It was good. Good to have a party, I mean. Yeah, people needed to let off steam, and they did.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you could take me through it, what you did that evening, right from the start.
Okay. Okay, I think I got there about 7.
Mm-hmm.
I had some things to finish up in the office.
Oh, yeah, what was that?
Boring stuff, really. Boring stuff. I think it was timesheets, logging our patterns, spreadsheets.
Sure. Okay, and then what?
I went and changed. I mean, it wasn't fancy dress or anything, thank God. But, you want to show you've made an effort. It's a thing of your hands. They won't notice if you're there. They'll sure notice if you aren't. And that includes looking like you want to be there. Then I headed for the party, grabbed a drink and sat down.
Okay, who were you sitting with?
I was sitting with, initially, around the table, there was Anders, Victor, Greg, and Bridget, I think.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
It was a party. We talked, we drank, moved around a bit. I remember Victor was being Victor, so I moved tables to get away politely. And Greg had obviously had the same idea, so we sat down with Drew, Felipe, Maria, and Sienna for a bit. Jack joined us too.
Okay, Matteo, tell me, what were you drinking? Do you remember?
I was only going to drink red wine.
Was only going to. I sense a bit of regret there.
Well, then Anders suggested everyone do shots.
Okay. So what time would this be?
Yeah, not much later. I mean, maybe 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And so what, you were just talking for the hour, were you?
It's a party. And there was music,
Oh, yeah. Anyone get their groove on? Love a good playlist. Who was in charge of the music? Who was DJing?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was Felipe, I think. Yes, he kept calling out for requests and then not listening. And why do that? Huh?
It's so annoying. So tell me, was Johan around for the shots?
No, he had his 9 p.m. call with Keone.
Mm-hmm.
He left after the food to prep for that.
Listen, Matteo, it's hard to track with so many of you. Was Ghislaine around by then?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure when she left.
What about Hira?
This is, it's awful to say, but I cannot remember. To be honest, Ira she's taken a step away from everyone. And even when she is about, she often doesn't interact. So I cannot be sure of the movements.
Listen, I've been told there was a bit of an argument that night. Can you tell me a bit about that?
I didn't see much of it. I was told about it later.
Who told you about it?
Maybe Anders, but I can't be certain.
So you didn't see much of it. Was that because you'd left the room, had you?
No, I mean, not till later when I left. You know.
All right. So you saw a bit of it. So could you explain to me who was involved in it?
Everyone, I believe. But it started with Felipe and Drew, Dr. Fairfield.
Apparently there was shouting, was there?
Maybe I was in the kitchen.
Okay. But sorry, just to clarify, you said a moment ago that you didn't leave the room until later.
I meant the canteen and the kitchen area, the whole room. That area of the base we kind of counted as one area, but yes, it's two, I suppose, kitchen and canteen.
Okay. So why did you go into the kitchen area? Any reason?
I was helping Scott clear the place, dishes.
Okay. So go on. What then?
I went back, sat with the same people, we talked, then I left.
But what time did you personally leave the party then?
Maybe about 9:30.
Could you try and be a bit more specific?
Probably nearer to 9:30.
And you went where?
To my room.
Can anyone vouch for you from that time onwards?
Sure.
Who can vouch for you?
Sienna Cooper.
Right. So she was in your room, was she, when you got there?
No. Look, it was new. Well, that was the first night, her and me. She didn't want anyone to know. This place is all gossip. Like, what else we got to talk about? Who, what, why, We were drinking. She whispered in my ear. Then she left the party about 10 minutes before me. I think she told people she had a migraine, and she does actually get them. I waited 10 minutes, like she told me. I did a whole lot of yawning, and then said I had to go. I had enough.
Okay. And no one made the connection with Sienna's earlier departure, did they?
She's like a million leagues above me. Nobody is going to make that connection.
Oh, come on, Matty. I'm sure you've been hard on yourself.
Maybe a 6, 7 with a good haircut. Sienna, she's a 10. And that means out here she's like 15.
So nobody put you two together, right?
If they did, they didn't say anything.
Okay. So after the party, you said you went to your room, yeah?
Yeah, kind of. On the way, I went to where I'd agreed to meet Sienna.
Oh, yeah. Where was that?
By the notice board, by the stairs. It's on the way to my room.
Why'd you arrange to meet there?
Well, if anyone came along, we could pretend to be reading something.
Well, did anyone come along?
No, whilst I was there.
Right. So how long did you both stay by the notice board?
We didn't. I mean, it was stupid, really. We just went to my room.
Sorry, but so why didn't you agree just to meet there?
If someone had seen her hanging around my room, it's not near her room, there'd be no hiding that.
Okay, understand. And she was with you for the rest of the evening, is that correct?
Until Johan came to get me.
Yeah, what time was that, Matteo?
I don't know, maybe around 11:15.
Were you asleep for any of that time?
Yes, we did fall asleep after I'd had quite a bit to drink, it turned out.
Sorry to get a bit technical about this. personal, I suppose, but what time do you think you actually fell asleep if you got to the room around 9:30?
Uh, to be honest, it wasn't very. It wasn't our best night. I really had too much to drink.
Right. So maybe you were asleep sooner, like quite quickly after 9:30?
To my eternal regret, yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Look, I know these details can be a bit tricky, but you've been really helpful.
I hope Sienna doesn't. Well, I wonder what she's going to say.
Oh no, listen, don't worry. This is all confidential.
It wasn't a dysfunction thing. That's not what I meant. It wasn't anything
No,
like.
no,
You know,
no,
it's,
no, sure. No, it really doesn't. No, listen, please, don't worry,
I
Matteo.
just drunk.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, it provokes a desire, but takes away the performance, right?
Sorry.
Shakespeare. You knew a wee bit about getting drunk too. Macbeth.
Right. That's the Scotch one. Yes.
Aye. So you arrived at the party about 7. Is that correct? Having first gone to your room to change? Yeah?
Yes.
You then sat drinking. You never left the canteen kitchen area. You helped clear up. Then you left at around 9:30 p.m. to go to the notice board, met Sienna Cooper as arranged, and went to your room together. Is that all right? Have I got all that right, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just take you back, if I can, to those shots that you were drinking. What were they?
Aquavit. It's Anders' thing. He got them to stock it especially. You know, it's very strong.
Mm-hmm. Do you drink that neat or with something? Or?
Neat. A shot is a shot.
Oh, yeah, stand corrected. So how many did you have?
I think there were a few rounds.
Who was doing them?
Lots of people.
Jasleen, maybe?
No. Jasleen didn't have any. She's not a drinker.
Victor? Bridget?
Bridget dropped out. Funny. I can't remember if Victor kept drinking. I think he did.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to skip forward again. Could you tell me everything from the moment you were woken up by Johan?
It was about 11:15, wasn't it?
Is that what you remember, is it?
Only because we talked about it since, you know.
Mm-hmm. Did you look at your watch or anything?
There kind of wasn't time. It was a bit of a panic, you know.
And Sienna was still there with you when Johan woke you up, was she?
Yeah, she wasn't over the moon about that either.
Can you remember what Johan said?
About Sienna?
No, sorry, about why he'd woken you.
Yeah, he said we had an issue. He needed me immediately. Somebody was off base, might need assistance.
Mm-hmm. Did he say who?
I can't. I don't think so.
Right. And then what happened?
He said he'd see me in the locker room, and he went.
And did you say anything to Sienna?
Yes. Do you need this? Is this relevant?
Well, it might be, Matteo. Yeah.
Okay. I said sorry for the. Maybe next time it would be more.
Sorry. I mean, did Dr. Fairfield come up in conversation?
I don't think I knew it was Drew at this stage. I definitely didn't say anything to her. I know that.
Okay. So what happened next?
I threw on some clothes and quickly headed to the locker room. Got suited up.
And in the locker rooms, is that where Johan told you it was Dr. Fairfield?
Yes, and that the GPS had placed him off base.
You knew about these trackers, did you?
Of course. Kiona is a cutting-edge outfit. One of the reasons, actually the reason that I applied here. I want to work for the best.
You know Kieran won't be listening to these tapes, Matteo.
Yeah. Good to know.
Okay. And what did Johan tell you about Dr. Fairfield at this point?
He said there was no reason for him to be out there, that he hadn't signed out, that the tracker hadn't moved since it was activated, All good reasons why we had to go out and take a look.
Mm-hmm. Could you go on, please?
He'd already started loading the sled, some basic equipment, first aid, ropes, that kind of thing. Once I was suited up, I finished that with him and we set off.
Mm-hmm. And what time was it when you located Dr. Fairfield, his body? I mean,
Maybe just after midnight. It was slow going, not the best weather to go out in.
okay. And when you got there, what did you find, Matteo? I mean, what was the first thing you saw?
Well, the locator took us towards this drift, and then we saw the crevasse, which is kind of what we were expecting, one of the main things we were expecting.
Why would you be expecting that?
Well, that's why you don't go out alone, not on an unmarked route. The ice can open up anytime, anywhere. You have to be roped up.
Roped up to someone else?
No, nothing else is going to save you.
Okay. So what did you see, Matteo?
We could see him, his body. But I mean, we didn't know he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
We were hoping we could see him maybe 3 or 4 meters down. I could see his red jacket.
But you still thought he could be alive, did you?
Well, not really. But you don't, it was bad. It's best not to think.
No, I understand. So what happened next?
We brought some ropes, some friction hitches. You don't want Prusix for something like this.
Mm-hmm. So one of you had to go down on ropes, right?
It's a standard thing. Crevasse rescue. We practiced it.
Mm-hmm. So you volunteered to go down, did you?
That's right. If he was alive, we had to work fast. We decided I would be the one to abseil down,
mm-hmm.
and Johan staying up top to belay.
Okay, and then what happened?
Johan used what's called an ice axe belay and paid out the rope, and I began my descent.
Mm-hmm.
I was quickly able to get alongside him, alongside Drew. He was face down. I mean, head down, upside down, your feet upwards. I managed to squeeze through the ice and get a hold of his wrist. There was no pulse. I shouted this up to Johan, and he said we still might be able to revive him. Except his skin, it was cold. Really cold.
Listen, Matteo, I know this might sound a wee bit stupid, but can people survive for periods of time out there? I mean, this would be severe hypothermia, wouldn't
it? Bodies can do strange things in the cold.
Okay.
In the moment, I just needed to get him out. Then work out what to do next. We couldn't just, we had to try.
Yeah, of course. Can you describe everything you saw, when you clearly saw Dr. Fairfield for the first time, once you'd climbed down and you were with him?
He was head down, like I said.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
He didn't look alive. I mean, no movement.
Did you try and speak to him, Matteo?
I was yelling his name. It was pretty horrible.
Right. And what did you do next?
I managed to squeeze further down, sort of below him, get the harness under his arms, around his chest.
And the ice around him, around his body, can you describe that to me?
I don't understand.
Like, anything you noticed at all about the surroundings?
No blood, if that's what you mean.
You sure about that? None at all?
Yeah. I was using a head torch, so it wasn't like I could see the whole scene for sure, but none that I remember.
Well, what about around his head? Anything there?
It was all kind of matted, his hair, all over the place. And his hood was getting in the way, and it was hard to see.
Okay, so look, you had the harness around him. Then what? Can you talk me through that?
Well, when we decided it was tight enough, I pushed upwards and Johan pulled.
That must have been hard work, yeah?
Yes, and pretty awful. if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
In a crevasse, you usually fall until you jam in the ice. Otherwise, you just keep falling, right? Except usually because it's someone who's alive, he can help himself slide free or herself. What is the word? Like wego?
Wriggle?
Sì, giusto. Rigor.
Mm-hmm. And so you still don't notice any blood? No?
All I wanted to do was get him out.
Yeah, of course.
Eventually, something got loose and he was clear, and Johan managed to haul him up.
Well, and then you followed afterwards, did you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, pushing where I could.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, what happened to Dr. Fairfield's body when you came out of the crevasse?
Johan had him up there, holding him. That's the first time I saw his head. Properly, I mean. Looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
His face.
Go on.
I thought, my God, did we do that to him? Getting him out, I mean,
Did you say anything?
I can't remember.
Did you try and revive him?
No. Even Johan realized that he was well past that. I mean, his head. It was a real mess. A real mess. Horrible.
Mm-hmm. Explain to me what you did next, Matteo.
We loaded him, his body, onto the sled, and we hauled him back to base. When there, I stayed with him in the locker room whilst Johan went to get Jaslene.
And then what?
To be honest, I was in total shock. I mean, you do these things, right? You come to places like this, but you don't expect people to die here. Not actually die, So I just sat there. It felt like ages, Just me and his body alone together in that room, waiting. Then Johan and Jaslene came in, and I needed to get out of the room, away from it all, so I left, And I almost instantly saw Maria. I will never forget her screams. So horrible. The grief. I tried to comfort her, but after I went off, and then more people with questions.
Which people were asking questions, Matteo?
Oh, Christoph came first, I think. Yeah, but it's all a bit of a muddle after that. I was so exhausted.
Sure, of course you were. If I may ask, Matteo, what was going on in your head at the stage about how you thought Drew might have died?
I wasn't really. I mean, I knew something wasn't right with his head wounds.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, I just hoped we hadn't done those,
Sure.
Well, more damage when we dragged him out.
Listen, can we just go back to the area around the crevasse for a minute? What could you see around the top of that area?
What do you mean?
Sorry, I mean, for example, did you see any other footsteps? Not your own, anything like that?
It was night. I mean, it's always night. Yeah. We had flashlights. We were looking for Drew, looking to save him, find him alive. But, I couldn't tell. We couldn't stop to examine footprints. And if there were footprints, the snow would have filled them in fast anyway.
Right, yeah, sure. Did you notice any blood at all? Anything out of place? I don't know, clothing, anything like that?
No, I didn't, Non mi ricordo, I don't remember.
Was there anything that might indicate he could have slipped into that crevasse?
We were doing a rescue. We'd been moving fast. We weren't, come si dice, we weren't preserving the scene.
Yeah, no, look, I do understand. You're doing amazingly well under the circumstances.
Yeah, it's the job. Anything less would be a failure.
Okay, so Dr. Fairfield himself, Matteo, how did you get on with him?
Totally fine.
Could you expand on that a bit, please?
No, what's to say? We were together.
And when was the last time you spoke to him then?
During dinner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We were all in groups, so I'm not sure.
Okay. So when was the last time you spoke to him on your own, one-to-one?
Earlier in the day.
Can you remember what that conversation was about?
He had come to the command office looking for Johan.
Right.
I just made small talk,
Did he find Johan?
No.
Any idea what it was regarding?
Sorry, no. Maybe Mark. I don't know.
Okay. Can I just go back to you and Drew's working relationship?
Sure.
I'm sorry to ask this, but did you ever feel, I don't know, under scrutiny from Drew, or as if he was patronising you at any point?
Where did you get that? I mean, why do you ask of that? Why? Crap. Is this from one of those secret recordings? Huh? Have you got those? I suppose you have, haven't you? Huh? Look, he'd got it into his head that I wasn't managing. I mean, what is he, suddenly a psychologist? No, he wasn't. In fact, that's what made me mad, He kept on about that when we wanted his help with the Luca thing. But me, he targets me like he's suddenly a psychologist, saying I'm unpredictable, I'm on edge. And he goes to Johan with it. He goes to my boss. It's totally out of order.
Yeah, and that made you mad, right? Did you and Johan talk about it?
Yeah, kind of a bit, He said he'd been asked to give me one of those sad lamps, great. Now I'm one of those who needs a sad lamp.
And did it help you?
Oh, Madon. I didn't use it.
So what did you do with it?
I threw it.
What, you threw it away?
Against Drew's door.
Ah.
Look, I regret it. I was out of... Okay. It was childish, adolescent, big time stupid.
When was this, Matteo? Exactly, do you remember?
I don't know. It was well over a month ago, forse. Yeah. I mean, look, I cleared it up. I don't think he was in. He kind of been. He would have heard it. Look, I'm sorry.
Look, it's nothing to do with me. We're not investigating criminal damage. It's not our issue right now.
Right.
But listen, I have to ask. I find it kind of interesting that Dr. Fairfield should flag the signs of Winter-Over syndrome in you, Matteo, but then it's Mark who breaks down.
Tell me about it.
Well, was that a surprise? Were you surprised about Mark Rennick?
Sure. I mean, totally. He was acting pretty angry, pissed off, but he had good reason. He was doing another guy's job while the other guy was watching box sets,
Yeah, but the explosion, if I might call it that, I mean, was that a shock?
Johan and I have been over and over it. Neither of us think we could have predicted it.
And do you think anyone blamed you? You two, being in command as you are.
Not that I've heard.
What? So everyone was happy to see him locked up, were they?
He's confined, not locked up.
Sorry, confined.
No, not everyone was happy, me included.
No. Well, you disagreed, did you?
Yeah. Mark needs sedation, sure, but there hasn't been any sign of violence since the first night. He's been good as gold.
That's because he's been sedated, no?
So why does he have to be locked up as well? I told Johan how I felt about this, and Johan listened to me, and then he decided not to change the arrangement.
Okay. Well, how did that make you feel?
That's called command structure. He's the captain of the ship. That's fine. He calls the shots, and he takes the rap.
Yeah, but I mean, how did it make you feel to be, passed over like that, to be ignored?
I Look, he heard me out, respectfully, but he came to a different decision.
Do you feel that maybe Dr. Fairfield's comments about you played a part in Johan maybe not trusting you in this situation?
No, I don't.
That maybe the possibility of you suffering from winter over syndrome meant that you weren't maybe thinking clearly?
Look, Inspector, let me be clear. I'm not suffering from... Johan doesn't think I'm suffering from that, okay? From anything. Do you think that he would have come to me, to work with me out on the ice to find Drew, if he thought that, huh? If he thought that I was unreliable? You go out there, you rely on your partner, you have to trust them 100%. You really think he didn't trust me?
No, understood, Matteo. No, that's pretty clear. Thanks. Look, could I maybe ask you just a few more questions about life around the base?
Right, knock yourself out.
Great. Okay, right. Drugs. Is there much misuse around the base? Drugs?
I'm sure there is some.
Have you seen it?
Well, they're not going to do it in front of me, you know. They know I have to report them.
So you've no actual evidence of drug misuse, no?
It would be in the Keone files if I did, like I said.
What about prescription drugs? Do you know if anyone's got access to those, like painkillers or anything like that?
Yeah. Presumably Anders has been prescribed something, you know. I wouldn't know who's on what, you know. Quite rightly, Jaslyn controls that side of things.
Okay. So that just leaves alcohol. Is that an issue?
I wouldn't call it an issue, no.
I'm sensing a button there.
Some people do arguably drink too much or too often.
Yeah, care to say who?
Well, look, they probably tell you themselves. You know, Greg, Anders, Christoph, Jack. They all love to drink.
Anders, even on painkillers?
That's not my problem.
Anyone else?
Sienna should probably be on that list too.
Okay. And have there ever been any incidents, drink related?
Oh, no, nothing. No, I think they just have a higher tolerance.
Yeah, I've heard that blamed quite a few times.
For some people, it's important. There's not much else to do, in the evening.
Yeah, I suppose if nothing happens, but something has now, hasn't it?
Certo.
Matteo, did anyone, were you aware of anyone with a particular grievance against Dr. Fairfield?
Apart from me, you mean?
No, I didn't mean you at all. I meant anyone else.
No, nothing more than the tiny things that come up, when you're living in these cramped circumstances and everything. It's
So you wouldn't say you noticed anyone with, say, an ongoing grievance against Dr. Fairfield?
No, everyone was pissed off about the hidden recordings.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, was it?
Yeah, I reckon everyone. Some made more noise about it than others.
Yeah, who made the most noise?
Yeah, Felipe, obviously.
Anyone else?
Look, I don't think anyone liked it or even thought it was acceptable. They felt they'd been conned. It was in the contract, sure, yes, but, conned, really.
But you and Johan didn't feel conned, right? Because you knew, yeah?
Well, no, they didn't even tell me. I was only, I've known about it when it kicked off. I had to go to Johan and ask about it, but I got to say I didn't believe it. But well, yes, that's when I found out.
What's your view of this practice, Matteo?
I'm happy to work within the framework of any decisions taken by Keone management.
Yeah, but what do you think of that framework?
It's a big corporation. They're looking to expand their work into space, things like that. This is important research. It makes sense.
Listen, Matteo, like I said, they're not going to listen to this interview. So you can tell me what your personal feelings are here. What do you think about the rights and wrongs of this secret recording?
Well, I think it was wrong to keep it secret. I don't think secrets are ever good. They happen, but responsible management shouldn't keep things secret, Secrets are for ordinary people.
Mm-hmm. And maybe someone's keeping a secret now, eh? Can I ask, have people been behaving differently since Drew's body was discovered?
Everyone's totally freaked.
Yeah, but could you make a distinction for me at all between people? How people are reacting?
Sure. Well, Maria is totally in pieces. And Scott is noticeably quieter. And Luca too. Look, but then everyone's in shock. Everyone's really upset. It's horrible.
Yeah, I understand. But does anyone stand out at all?
Look, everyone was pissed off with him about the recordings, but nobody wanted to kill him over it.
Maybe someone did.
Yeah. It's just, it's a total shit show now. Sorry.
Okay, look, thanks, Matteo. You've been really helpful. I think we can leave it there for now.
Yeah, not because of what I said, no? No, we can go on. You can ask me anything.
No. I've actually genuinely finished, Matteo. You've been really helpful. Oh, sorry, no, just one more question. Are you left or right-handed?
Yeah, right-handed.
Great, okay, listen, thanks again for being so cooperative. I'm going to switch off the recording now, but if I need to get in touch with you, I will. Okay?
Okay, grazie.
All right, end of interview with Matteo Lombardi. Time is 22:30 GMT. Oh, and Matteo, please don't forget to give Luca your phone.
Get all the files now. Sign up at coldtapes.com and go ad-free.